Hello, welcome to the Two Have and Two Roll podcast. My name is Oliver. In this show, my wife Robyn and I discuss role-playing in Dungeons & Dragons, LARP and cosplay. We are super excited to have you here, and we really hope you enjoy the show. Hello everyone, my name's Oliver. Welcome to Two Have and Two Roll. I'm here with my lovely wife Robyn once again. How are you, Robyn?
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. It's going well, Oliver. How's it going with you?
Long time no see.
Long time no see. You know, sometimes, Oliver, it feels like you're just in the next room.
Yeah. It's sometimes the same room.
Yeah, sometimes the same room.
Right. Well, we've just been talking before we went live that we're excited for this weekend because we were like, what should we talk about this week? But you were excited about this weekend, aren't you? What are we doing this weekend, Robyn?
Well, this weekend we're getting to go to a really exciting event that's quite close to us, actually. What's the proper name of the event, Oliver?
What's your game? So it's a fair. It's like a retail fair for LARP, live action role play of all sorts. So there'll obviously be stands, selling weapons for live action role play, and obviously costuming. I'm not sure what else there'll be. I'm hoping there'll be like food and other bits and pieces.
Yeah, we're about to obviously get into LARP, and we're just starting to gather everything that we're going to need for our kit, which is essentially our costume that we're going to be wearing. So I've got a few things I'm really hoping to get this weekend. Is there anything you're hoping to find, Oliver?
Yeah. I really need pretty much everything. So I've got what I think I need is base layers. I'm trying not to just go all out because I feel like I'm a little bit older and wiser these days. I think the temptation when you go LARPing, or I can imagine and what I've seen from other people's anecdotes, is that they get into LARPing and then they're just like, obviously they go, the swords and the other cool stuff and the armor and everything like that, but they probably completely forget they spend their entire budget on one more sword than they really needed, and then they get to an event and then it rains and then they go, oh, I've only got one shirt and I've only got one pair of trousers. And they go, whoops, didn't think about that. Or they've only got one pair of boots, or they didn't pack enough socks or something like that. So because we're starting at ground, like from the ground up, I have a shirt. I have a nice cotton shirt that I got from the LARP Inn. I do have a pair of trousers, don't I, Robyn? But
yeah, you do.
but so they are actual live action roleplay trousers, and like reenactment trousers. I wore them for my wedding, and we are 2.5 years removed from our wedding day, and my waist is a little bit larger than it was.
Oh dear. And just as with everything you're saying here, Ollie, I'm just picturing people being like, oh, we're so excited to LARP and get swords and get armor. I'm just picturing you wandering around being like, oh, don't forget your thermals.
Well,
don't forget those extra socks.
It's true though. Well, I think because even though we've not been LARPing yet, and I'm definitely not like a festival goer. This will be my, I used to go to like horse shows and things like that where you would camp and be there over an entire weekend. So I've done that. I've done that type of camping. I'm not a big camper in general, but I think knowing from what I know from that and our experiences going to conventions, I think, you make all those mistakes. You go, right, it's the main thing to stop yourself getting like just grumpy and miserable is to make sure that you're warm, you have enough clothing, you have enough food, and you have a decent place to just escape for a little while. Yeah,
I agree.
It's really important.
I think that we've both almost been prepared in that way when it comes to horse shows, because the same I've been to, these horse shows as well and staying overnight there. And you're in a similar environment where it's, tends to be a bit cold and wet and muddy, and there's a lot of people there. I like that, having that place to escape. So we always had that there in the form of a van or a car or a tent or something. So yeah, that's definitely a good bit of advice.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we go over like what it is we're actually supposed to be going to after this? So this weekend is going to be obviously a shopping experience to get live action roleplay equipment. But the thing we're aiming for is an event the end of April that we're going to. So it's going to be a 3-day event in a big ass field in the middle of England. Huge field. There's thousands of people that go, and it's all there's in character camping basically, and the event is just you've got in character times. So there's like an in character campsite and an out of character campsite. So our plan is to go for the entire weekend. Over I think
in character.
Well, in character, yeah, because you can stay in a hotel and just go to the day events. You can just travel to the site every day, and I think there's an out of character campsite as well where you can have your
there is
your little cheapy tents, for people who want to just camp normally. But no, we're no, let's go for it. So. Yeah, we've been looking at purchasing bell tents, haven't we? The big canvas bell tents.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to order that tonight, actually. I think I've managed to do the research there, and we're going to get a big 5-meter canvas bell tent.
I'm so excited.
And kit it out. I mean, that's one of the things. So this weekend, I know you're saying that you're kind of looking for pretty much everything. I'm planning on keeping an eye out for anything that can help with, accessorizing a bell tent. But my number one thing that I'm looking for this weekend is a mug. A really cool mug.
Yeah, I definitely want a mug. Again, this is other things you don't think of, because you think, all right, I want a LARP. Yeah, cool. I'm going to get the swords. I'm going to get the armor. So I'll definitely come back to the mugs. I will circle back to the mugs. But going back to my first point, the way this one works, as far as I can tell. So this is a game called Empire that we're joining. It's a game system in the UK. They have 4 events a year. The way they seem to work it is that they encourage you to have a aspirational kit. So it's funny, coming from cosplay, we talk about, my cosplay, and the costumers seem to say, my costume, whereas in LARP it seems to be a kit. So I'm just picking that vernacular up. So your kit is basically the stuff you wear. It's actually it's actually a nicer word to say than my cosplay. But they seem to have a thing in this Empire game where they tell people, we want you to have aspirational kit. So they don't expect people to plow a ton of money in coming, because it's a game with several events a year, and hopefully, as long as your character doesn't die, you're going to be upgrading, slowly your character. So really, even though it might not be the more exciting stuff that people are, want to run out and get, like your armor and your fancy dresses, and your crazy accessories and your weapons, your massive swords and axes, that's not the most important thing at first, because you want to build that stuff later. You can always build that stuff later. You kind of want to get you want to spend your money on the foundational things. I think I'm saying this. I think this is going to be the case, because as soon as I started looking at it, I'm like, no, I want to make sure I have multiples of shirts, multiples of trousers, make sure I get decent boots, a decent belt. From what everyone's saying, I think we need to buy our weapon. I mean, I'll be interested. I'll probably come back this weekend with a weapon, but my plan was to buy a weapon at the event before the game begins. But going back to mugs, things like that, especially after COVID times, I think having your own mug just is going to be super important, because we're going to be constantly, because I think there's water fountains in around the fields as well. But when you're drinking beer and things like that, just having the mug on you to walk around the site is 100% a good idea, right?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, it doesn't just extend to your sort of beer mugs or your water skins, but one of the things that a lot of people invest in, especially within the area that we are looking to join, is teacups, like
Teacups.
fancy looking teacups with saucers. And you actually get this leather holster for the teacup to attach to like so your belt
Yeah.
or your bag or anything like that. And a lot of people seem to really be into that. So you can head out in the morning with your cup and get some coffee or some tea.
Yeah.
It does seem really pleasant actually.
Yeah, because a lot of the things that you'll be running around doing, it's like 3 days is a long time, especially if it might
Yeah.
be like it might be peeing it down with rain, you know? So that you can get miserable very quickly in those circumstances. You need somewhere to like retreat to and to be like go right. Okay, I can just change into different clothes for the evening rather than yeah, like you say, spending all your money and then being like I don't even have a mug. You get there. You're like I'm really thirsty, but I don't actually have a mug to go out and get a drink of water, and I have to now go all the way to, out of character to the shop to go get something. I don't think we want to do that.
Oh, definitely not. I think we'll probably take quite a lot with us. Also things like your tinderbox style of things as well, so that you've got your own cutlery and straws and that kind of stuff, just the
Oh yeah.
basics that you would take camping anyway. A lot of people who do camp are used to taking all of that sort of thing with them, your campfire pots and pans. It's always useful to have.
Yeah.
I like though how you were like, yeah, you've been focusing on getting, making sure you've got shirts and trousers and lots of layers. Yeah, I did the opposite. I basically went, I'm going to look for my main fancy piece first. And I'm going to get that ordered. And I'll get shirts later.
Well, I mean, the stuff I'm interested in, so it seems to be. It's funny. We'll probably listen back to this podcast and be like, "Oh my god, what a load of noobs!" And we are noobs, 100% within this
really
sphere. The LARP,
noobs.
we are noobs. So anybody who's listening to this who's into LARP, please forgive us. If you do see us as well at a LARP event, please come up to us and say, "Hey." Also, yeah, I mean, if you want to say, "Hey, I listened to your podcast," that would be amazing. But yeah, please come and correct us and and guide us because we're going to need
sorry.
it. Well, yeah, but this is the exciting bit because we're stepping into a new realm, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot what I was going to say there. It was something about the kit.
Shirts, kits. Oh, the things that you're wanting to get for years. The main thing that you're.
Oh
wanting
yeah,
to get.
yeah. So there's different. I think they call it different. It's games they call it. So there's like the like the war game or the combat game. So it's not all just about going out and battling, even though there are battles apparently. But some people are focused on that. Where there's all these other games within the game, and they call it the games. There seems to be like a trading game where you can. If you want to focus on trading, and there's a magic game and a religion game and all this. So currently for me at the minute, the combat game is especially the character I want to bring into it wants to be a knight errant. So he wants to prove himself in battle, and I kind of want to I've just want to get in there and have a fight. I think that would be really cool. So in my head, I've already got eventually I want like plate armor, because I really want to do that. So for me, economically, going out and getting all that straight away is no. I would just completely break the bank on all my armor, and then I wouldn't have money for trousers, shirts, things to keep me warm. Well, another thing we need to get is a cloak. We've already have one cloak, but it's kind of the wrong color. Everybody's like, get a cloak. I'm thinking about getting one commissioned with the colors of our nation that we're joining. I'm thinking about getting one commissioned because I think that'll be a really cool piece to have, because you can always, no matter how much like armor I get or no matter what character I bring in that nation, you can always wear that cloak.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm a little bit unsure at the minute. I'm basically using one of my D&D characters as inspiration for my LARP character.
Yeah.
And a D&D character that I've got is she wears lots and lots of purple. And I thought, well, I'm going to make my LARP outfit pretty much all based around that color scheme. Even though the place that the group that we're joining, it's mainly what's it? Dawn's mainly like your royal sort of blue, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, the nation. So the Empire game, for the people who haven't looked into it, is exactly what the title says. It is an empire of nations, and the idea is that the actual event itself, the festival itself, is a summit. From what I can gather, it's a summit of all the different nations within the empire. So during that summit, every player, every player, so every person joining the game is supposed to be a player in inverted commas in the actual empire itself. So you've come and you have some sort of resource that has made it so that you have been invited to this summit. So then that's why there's all this trading and this, that, the other going on, religion and magic rituals being cast. And then the battles, that they basically have it so you decide where the battles need to be fought across the entirety of the empire, and you go fight people out with the empire. So all the players, you all play on the same side. There's no playing on the opposite side. You know, I think there's like there's like obviously internal things. There's internal confrontations and things of that manner, people getting murdered and people getting robbed and things that can happen, but you're all of the same empire. So there's all the different nations in the empire, and they all they all have their own cultures. The one we're joining, Robyn, is Dawn, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
so we were saying what's the color scheme of Dawn?
Yeah. So the color scheme of Dawn is blue and yellow. So it's a yellow sunburst. I think I really want to learn heraldry as well. So, and there's a lot of people that I've noticed in the community are really into heraldry, especially the Dawnish people, because it is, the aesthetic is very like Arthurian knights. You know, it's very like Anglo-French, medieval knights, that kind of stuff. It's all about kind of glory, but they've obviously twisted a few things as well. Like chivalry isn't as a big a deal in it. There are obviously female women knights, and it's all, gender doesn't really play a role in any of the nations anyway, do they? Like it's completely, that's a worldwide thing anyway, isn't it? So yeah, I want to learn my heraldry, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a yellow sunburst on a blue field. I think that's the correct term. Field.
Yeah. So yeah, with what I'm doing is it's I've kind of gone for this sort of purple color scheme because of the character that I originally based it from. But then I've now sort of thought, well, I'm definitely not to be in Dawn, although this is not technically the color scheme, is still really bright, and they tend to really like their bright and their out there colors. They are romantics. So what I have actually decided with my character is that in her backstory, she's not originally from Dawn, she's from somewhere else, but she's going to have lots of gold details and gold painted things to bring in that sort of yellow aspect. But I was thinking, cloak-wise, maybe a blue cloak might be fine.
Yeah, I mean, the cloaks can be expensive, but they seem to be really worth it. I mean, I've got one cloak. I've got my green cloak that my father wore at our wedding, because I wanted him to have a... Well, that's one thing that we should go over, isn't it? Like, that's the only really proper experience we've had buying LARPing gear as opposed to cosplay gear was our wedding. So my father, I wanted him to have the aesthetic of Rohan, like, because he's a bit like King Theoden, right? It kind of looks like him, and he's really into horses. And I should also say our wedding was Lord of the Rings themed.
Yeah, that's where I would have led with that one.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no. It's so yeah. We had, when we had that theme, we ended up going, right, we need practical stuff that we can wear all day, because that's the difference with cosplay. Because a lot of the time, cosplay, it only needs to look like it functions. It needs to look like the thing. If it looks like it's maybe made of decent cotton, then that's fine. But when you're doing something practical, like reenacting LARPing or having a wedding and dancing around, it needs to actually be functional.
That's the thing, like at cosplay events, it's this sort of, thing that most people are aware of, that they are going to be wearing an outfit that they won't even be able to sit down and eat in or go to the toilet in. The amount of times that I've had friends who've been in costumes that they pretty much needed to cut out of if they want to do anything functional and then put back into it again afterwards. But like you're saying, with something like LARP, you need to actually, it's as if you're living in that time. It's as if you're there and you're functioning just like you would every day here in the real world. You need to be able to eat and dance and sit down.
So yeah, how do you feel about... So one thing I might struggle with is that because I'm used to cosplay and you have this cosplay and it's like your piece of art that you've made, how are you going to feel about like walking out of all this cool stuff that you're like really proud of, wearing right into mud and rain and walking into a battle and you end up falling over into a puddle and you get snagged on a tree or something and your beautiful bodice or your amazing cloak gets absolutely covered in shit?
It's really funny you mentioning that, Oliver, because I was literally thinking about this weekend and I was like, oh, I hope the weather's going to be good because I want to wear my cool LARP stuff there and I better make sure I don't get it. And I kind of stopped and went, oh, wait, this isn't a cosplay. You kind of want the mud. You want the rips and the tears in some form of aesthetic because that's it getting worn. It's a functional piece of clothing. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm probably going to try to keep clean for the first maybe 10 minutes, and then I'll probably, knowing me, fall into a puddle and then just accept it for the rest of the weekend.
I'm going to keep clean. I'm going to try and keep clean, and it's the reason because I want to be that kind of shining armor type anyway. But that's why I instantly gravitated towards Dawn as a culture anyway, because like I think you just said, they are very very outgoing. They wear their emotions on their sleeves, so that they're very outwardly projective of how they want to, they outwardly project their feelings. So yeah, having it wouldn't be a vain thing in character anyway for that culture to be like, oh, we got muddy, and then we'll spend the whole rest of the morning in character outside our tent cleaning ourselves, you know?
Exactly. I mean, yeah, we've been quite good with what we've gotten so far as well. Like one of the first things we got was all the wash stuff and everything that can be used, so we can pretty much completely wash ourselves. Like we've got shampoo that's non-water activated and things like that, so that we can actually keep nice and clean over the weekend and smell pretty.
Yeah. I'm so looking forward to it. I'm a little bit. I'm not nervous at all now, but I know that from what I've heard of people going for the first time, it's like, playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons for the first time or going out in cosplay in the first time, but it's like a mix of both. It's like, well, some people say it's like going out on stage because they literally call something called time in. Again, I've never done this. I've just like, I've just listened to like podcasts and watched videos, from people's like anecdotes of doing it, really. And they do say, it's like, when they call time in, so you get like butterflies. It's like going on stage because you're literally just about to go out and go, oh, how do I role play? How are you feeling about that? Are you, because it's like there's no dice to hide behind, is there? You're just like, oh, I just got to act now.
I'm really looking forward to it. I miss, the one thing that I really miss about the lack of cosplay conventions that we have done is the stage. That the favorite part was just stepping out and being in character in any way. I am really excited for it. I know that I'm going to have that, butterfly feeling.
Yeah.
But it's more excitement. It's more like, oh, I'm going to get to actually be in character, and then I'm going to get to go and meet all these people in character. And I've got my wonderful knight here with me as we go in character around the place. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm kind of making a character that's going to be very much. So my plan is to go as a knight errant. So in our nation, as far as we can tell, as far as I understand, is that there's like nobles and yeoman, although it's a little bit different from like our history and our culture in that relationship. So the nobles don't have money, the yeomen have the money, the nobles like give up control of the money. Anyway, anyone can be a noble, but they have to go through what's called like a test of mettle. So it's like a questing knight errantry. You have to, and it's not all about like going off and doing battle. It can be anything. I think they give you. I think the house like gives you tasks to do. So it doesn't have to be like battle. It can be go and speak to another culture and get something from them, you know, or get them to dance with you or something. So you have to go through like this test to become a noble, and that like really, because I've played like. One of my most played D&D characters was basically a questing knight errant. You know, someone whose father was a knight and his uncle was a knight, and he was in that kind of teenage years of, all right, I need to go out and do some questing and prove myself as a knight, and that's a really good character archetype, I think, anyway, to go out and speak to people, because you're literally going, hey, I want to prove myself. What can I do to prove myself? Hey, you know, do you want a hand? I'm here. You know, let me prove myself. I think that's a good motivation for a character to have.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've honestly not decided which way I'm going yet with it. I've been terrible with my homework. I've not actually sat down and read through everything and gone, right, what do I actually want to do? Because I want something that's going to allow me to go up and speak to others. And also with the first event, the one thing I am a little bit nervous about is I don't want to end up off by myself for lots of it. So I'd rather kind of, you know, at least for the start, be sort of going to the same sort of areas that you're going, even if it's just for the first day, and then we end up, you know, spreading out. And
I've got a good feeling. I've got a good feeling we'll end up split up most of the day instantly. From what I gather, from what people have been saying about it, like literally people are always looking for people to do things. You'll always get called over, and there's always things happening at tents. You know, even if they're just sitting down having a glass of wine, people will be like, hey, come and have a glass of wine with us, and you get to know people. We're pretty comfortable role players anyway. You know, I don't think. I know. I have had a good time listening to. There's a couple of guys that do a podcast called The Noobs of LARP, and they're LARP Noobs. I think they started the podcast like 3 or 4 years ago, but they basically started the podcast going to one of these events that we're going to. It's a really good, you know, high quality podcast, but they went without having any experience of role playing. I think I'm right in that assessment, and it was quite funny, like listening to their experiences. I think they do play D&D, but I can't remember whether they said that was before or after. But we've done a lot of like in character acting, haven't we, like through D&D, so it's not going to be the most alien thing ever when someone comes up to you and is like, oh, hello, my name's, you know, character name, what's your name? You know, we're not going to be like hopefully.
I think I'm not too worried about the actual in character and the acting part of it. I think it's going to just be, it's that thing that I think everybody gets when you're doing something new or something for the first time, even if it's something that you're thinking, oh, it's going to be fine, it's going to be fun, I know all these people that are going to be going. There's still that the fear of the unknown, you know, that sort of fear of, what if we're at the event and you and I get totally split up for hours on end and no way of contacting you because my character doesn't have a mobile phone.
Yeah.
And it's silly things like that. Or what if I can't find my way back to the tent? I have a terrible sense of direction. You know, it's silly things that I think after the first couple of hours, that feeling will be gone.
Yeah.
But it's just,
I think it's just knowing who you can talk to, and you'll get your own little clique, because it's a festival. LARP, I think there's literally like thousands of people. I think there's like 3,000 people, and maybe more this year, because there's been like a whole 2 years without events, and people have been sitting doing nothing and then watching YouTube videos and listening to podcasts and watching streams about LARP. So now they're going. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of new players wanting to get into it. So there's probably going to be more than 3,000 people. So it's completely natural, I think, to have like little groups instead of going to an event where there's only like 100 people and then trying to get in with those 100 people, being like, hey, can I be a friend? Can I sit here while I wait for my husband? You're always going to find some people that you're going to be comfortable with, that you can kind of retreat to, hopefully.
Yeah.
I think so anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's always someone there. And I mean, like, there's a couple of people that I know is going to be there that I'm looking forward to meeting. Some people that I've played, Dungeons and Dragons with, and I know they're going to be there. And I thought, that'll be great. You've already got people, and they've all, even though they're in like
that's right.
a different nation.
Going.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I know one of the guys I used to play Dungeons and Dragons with, and he is in Navarre.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and he was instantly like, well, you guys need to come over to Navarre. We have we're out in the trees and you can come have a drink with us. We always play great music, and I'm like, that's so cool.
So looking forward to. I'm looking forward to see. I don't even know if I even want to go into the big battle as my character because I know I said earlier like you don't fight each other, but what happens is that you take turns. If you're going to fight in the big battle, the following day or the previous day you have to like fight as a monster, so like as an orc or something, just to obviously balance it out. So I might actually just my first big battle I might just do the monstering, which is just fight as an orc and then not risk my character in the first so much in the big battle. So we'll see.
I was thinking, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also really, really looking forward to the nighttime stuff. Like some of the stories I've heard of all the campfire stories and all the different taverns that are going to be there, which is definitely my jam.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to the most is the nighttime atmosphere, the taverns, meeting all people like that, because then you can just relax so much more. I am looking forward to that. I also, back to what you were saying about, fighting on the other side. That's what I was also thinking. I thought that might be a good way to get that first experience of being out in the battlefield without sacrificing your new character.
Well, there's things called, so there's obviously the two big battles, I think. This is all just going on what I've heard from people that have been. I know they might be changing things up. I don't know. But there's obviously two big battles. There's one on the Saturday, one on the Sunday, but the entire weekend there are smaller skirmishes from what I hear. So there's like little missions that you go on when you go out with like 30 odd people on these smaller missions, smaller skirmishes. Although I have heard that you're actually more at risk in those skirmishes of getting killed.
That's what I heard. I don't want to like go there on my first day with my first character and be like, I'm brand new, let's do a skirmish, and I'm dead.
Yeah.
What do I do now?
That would suck. Yeah. I think as long as you're smart with it, and you kind of know what you want out of it. I think we've managed to get some decent advice. The folks online, especially on the Facebook groups, are very active, and they have just been so helpful in this community. Like I think it's probably the nicest compared to the other communities I've been in, like video games, cosplay, costuming, and Dungeons and Dragons and TTRPGs. The LARP community seems like the most welcoming and helpful people ever.
I was just about to say welcoming. Yeah, the most welcoming community. It's the fact that the difference I noticed with the LARP community compared to others is all these other communities, you get quite a lot of people who will be like, oh yeah, you should totally come and do it. But you remember you'll need to do this and you'll need to do that. And it's almost like they try to encourage you while putting you off at the same time.
Yeah, we spoke about this in the first episode. Yeah.
Well, okay. It seems like they're all gatekeeping, but the LARP community are so welcoming to the point where I've been putting things online saying, oh, I'm looking to get this. I'm trying to figure out what's the best one of these to get. And people are like, here, I've got a spare one, have mine. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm just a stranger. You're just going to give me your LARPing stuff to help me? People are wonderful.
Yeah, no, it seems like a really great community. And it's funny because, you know one person. I think I know of people who are going, but I know a lot of people like through other people. So I know a lot of people that, because there's a bit of a crossover with the TTRPG community. There is a crossover with the cosplay community as well, so I know people who know people I know through those spheres as well, and I kind of I would probably know them to kind of, if it came up in conversation, I'd be like, oh yeah, no, yeah, I know you from such and such, or my friend, you know my friend such and such from here, so
Yeah,
we're not going in completely blind.
Yeah, I think I've spoken to a lot of people through Instagram and TikTok. I've got quite a lot of them now, like following me and commenting on stuff and been chatting back and forward. So I'm like, oh, okay. And they've all said, we'll see you at the event as well and get to meet up. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is quite cool. I feel like I already know people without properly knowing them yet, which is quite nice.
Yeah, yeah. So, I tell you what, we should talk about is like weapons with and things and armor as opposed to cosplay when it comes to LARP. So with
weapons
LARP,
first, yeah.
Yeah, I mean weapons, because that's what I mean. Like obviously I'm really interested in the weapons. I'm interested in the armor, but yeah, the weapons in particular. It's going to be interesting to see if I can come back from Saturday without actually purchasing a weapon. I'm going to try, because what I really want to just buy my first weapon at the event. Really, I want to be a sword and shield person, because I know shields are expensive as well. So I don't know whether it's going to be a case of just get a sword in the first event and the following event get something else. So that the weapons are made of oh no, what's the term? It's latex. What's the actual? Is it high? Not high density. It's a certain type of latex.
Okay.
That the weapons are made of with LARP. So with cosplay, we can use a lot of different materials. Usually, one a lot cheaper. We usually use EVA foam in cosplay because it's super lightweight. It is super cheap. However, in LARP, you are literally hitting people with these weapons, and you are hitting people that have got armor on as well. Metal armor in some cases. So they need to be extremely robust. So they have basically a million layers of latex on them, from what I can tell. So you can't. It's not quite as easy as going, oh yeah, I know how to make a cosplay weapon. I can make a LARP weapon. I probably could.
Yeah, so basically, a lot of them, what they do is they actually have fiberglass within them, and then they have the layers of foam, and then they have natural latex, which is then layered onto it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I reckon we probably could make
100%.
things. I think that what would be easier is if we purchase ones first so that we actually have something to go off.
I have no intention of spending money making one weapon, going to my first event and then going to the inspection and going, no, this isn't past the inspection, giving me back the weapon. I'm like, no. And that's why I want to buy one at the event as well, because apparently it's more likely that it's going to pass inspection, because obviously the people that trade there all the time, that they're in the habit of selling weapons that are going to pass, otherwise it wouldn't be very lucrative for them to be selling weapons there.
So you're after a sword, yeah?
I just want a sword, yeah.
You want a sword?
Yeah. I want a sword. A sword and shield would be my go-to, because that is just my RPG go-to build anyway. Is sword and shield. I just love that aesthetic, and I love that. I like the idea that the Dornish, it seems to be, when they do combat, it's very much like they're the ones that want to run in first because it's all about glory, and that kind of matched my idea of what I wanted to do in combat anyway. Like I wanted to be up with the shield wall. I wanted to be I think the winter markers are quite good at shield walls and lots of shields as well. But I was like, no, that's kind of where I want to be. I want to be up front. So therefore I'm probably going to have like armor and things like that. But yeah, sword first, because then if I get a sword first instead of like a halberd or a spear or something. Again, I'm kind of talking completely out of my depth here, but just my way of thinking. I'm like, if I get a sword, then I can go in straight away and start like practicing dueling with people, and I can obviously go on skirmishes literally just with the sword. I don't have to be like, right, I've got this huge, great big spear, but no shield yet, and it's kind of difficult to do hand-to-hand combat, and be lightweight. So I'm after a sword. What are you after?
You're after a sword. I am after 2 princess swords. So the princess swords are a bit shorter.
Yeah.
And normally you would have two of them.
Nice.
From what I have read and what I've looked up, they're more like, your dual wielding swords.
Yeah.
Because the only thing I have done that is remotely going to help within a combat situation is the tactical Kali, which is fighting with the two bamboo sticks.
Yeah.
And the way that people use these princess swords seems to be a very similar way, the same action. And I thought, well, I've been learning that. I've been practicing that. I could definitely carry on practicing how to duel like that. Let's get two princess swords. So that's what I am definitely want to get.
It would be very effective in LARP. Again, I'm speaking completely out of turn. I've never actually, fought in it, but from what I've seen, in real forms of combat, I think like dual wielding, I don't think it's that effective because the person with the shield and the very heavy sword is just gonna go through you, because you just won't have the because it's a stabbing and slashing weapon, whereas in LARP it's all you can like quickly because you can move quickly because they're made out of foam, and it's all about like pulling. You want to pull your blows anyway. You don't want to be whacking people super hard anyway, so you can actually get several hits off that way and be hitting, doing a lot of damage, in game terms. In that sense, so I think dual wielding is probably a good option. I might be completely wrong there, but
I mean, it's the only one that I'm currently like, okay, I'm comfortable doing that. That's already a skill I've got. So perhaps first ever LARP event, let's stay in the comfort zone. You never know. Once I'm actually there, things might change. I might be like, actually, not up for this at all. But I have a very strong suspicion that if I find weapons that I like this weekend, I might buy them.
Yeah,
I'm actually pretty sure I'm going to.
I might do. I think
2 swords and a mug. That's what I need to get.
I'm going to try. Like, if we meet some people that they're at this event this weekend that are like, giving us tips, and we're going around with them, and they're like, oh yeah, you should get that. Then I'll probably end up getting something. But yeah, mainly I'm going to be looking for. I think I need a belt. But the problem is that like if you're going to wear armor, obviously your belt will then change because you kind of want a belt for. But I'm going to want a belt for not having my armor anyway. So I think I'm going to have a belt that's going to fit me, just my normal, my normal shirt with a tunic if needed, and then I'll probably want to get another belt to go around chainmail. I think chainmail is probably the next step up. I won't be buying loads of plate straight away.
Yeah, I think. I'm going to make a few things like with that. I'm going to make some scale mail because I've got all the stuff for making scale mail, and I'm just going to be making a couple of small scale mail additions, which I'm probably going to have them attached to like some of a leather kidney belt, which is a slightly thicker belt that, sits where your kidneys are, funnily enough. That's probably, I'm going to look at making those because I want to emboss the leather, stamp the leather. What's the right word?
Emboss,
yeah.
Well, no, I mean, you carve leather. So you
carve. Wait, when you put the stamp into it?
That's tooling. So you
tooling, that's it.
You tool leather.
I knew there was a word. Yeah. I'm going to tool it with, I found some stamps online that I really like, some music notes and butterflies. So I want to either make the kidney belt and do all that myself, or maybe get one of the kits online, which have already cut out the perfect piece of leather for the kidney belt and attach the buckle to it. So I just need to sit and decorate it. We'll see.
I mean, you can get patterns and things. I'm sure we can get patterns online. We've got leather there in the workshop.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the leather and we wouldn't need a lot. So I'd quite like to do that. And then with my scales. Now I want to make some scale mail just to attach around the bottom, just to make it look quite cool. But all my scales are silver in color, or they're uncolored, and I kind of want them to be purple. Now I could go buy purple ones, but I have hundreds of actual silver colored ones. So I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok where people have been putting them inside the ionizing solution and running a current through it. And this basically alters the color of them. And if you turn it up high enough, you can get that nice deep purple. I might see if someone at work wants to play with some scales.
Yeah, I mean, this will all be cool as well. The other good thing, like there's obviously like a crafting. I talked about games earlier. There's a crafting game as well. So there's
Oh yeah.
you can physically make stuff as part of the game, and you can sell stuff as part of the game. You get in-game currency when people buy stuff from you. But there's also there's obviously like a not enchanting. I suppose it is enchanting. Yeah, like if you're a crafter, then you can make stuff, and then obviously you put it forward to the people that run the game. And they go, okay, yeah, you've now made, your character has now made this sword that can do this, or this piece of armor that can do this. Which I think is really cool. So you physically make this thing, and it has an in-game statistic. I think is so cool. So I might get into some of that as well later on.
Yeah, I feel like I can see myself going down that route because I'm already thinking of these things I want to make and sell for in-game currency. I want to so the Donish are really into their flowers, anything pretty like that. And you can make flowers out of scale mail. You can make really nice little flowers, and you can actually make them in a way that you can attach them to people's armor. You would just need to literally have the tools with you, and you can attach them on. And I thought, how pretty would that look for likes of people in to have these lovely scale mail flowers attached to them somewhere, just as decoration.
Oh yeah, yeah. As long as they don't stab people.
No,
you gotta be flat.
Don't worry.
Yeah. I think army can get away with pretty much most things as long as they're not, actually dangerous. People like walk into you or fall into you or something. I think pretty much anything goes. What I really like about the idea of is that very much, unlike a lot of other role playing games, you actually have to physically do the things that you want to do as well in most cases. So I really like the idea of the armor system as well, because you can get armor that looks like metal that's not. So if you want to aesthetically look like you have metal armor, you can, but it seems to be that doesn't work out for the rules of the game. So even though it might look like metal, it's not technically classed as metal armor in game terms, So to have, metal armor in game terms, you need to be wearing that metal armor, which makes complete sense, because if you do have that bonus, wearing the armor, you should be expected to physically to wear it, because it will physically slow you down, and you physically have to wear all this chainmail. It doesn't matter if you're super fit, it's gonna slow you down, and it's gonna, you're gonna heat up quickly. You're not gonna be running around the woods if you were wearing, little bits of fabric that look like metal, So I'm totally into that, because I think it would be rather unfair if you've got one person who's full of plate armor and can barely move, has got the same, armor stats as someone who's got a load of wool that looks like chainmail. That goes, oh yeah, I'm wearing chainmail. No, you're not.
No, definitely. I mean, I think, again, that's why I'm going down the leather route, because I know I can wear something like leather. It's not as heavy, and I can definitely move around. I mean, although the one thing I've noticed is I've ordered a couple of pieces for my kit already, just the fabric elements, and the site I've ordered them from, the stuff is amazing. It's all handmade and hand dyed, all natural materials. The weight of them really shocked me, just lifting them up. I thought, this looks like a thin, loose dress, and it is so heavy just trying to hold it. I thought that, with the addition of armor, is going to be a lot. And I was going to go for a full sort of leather bodice.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, I won't be able to breathe. Like, if I've got a proper leather bodice on for a full day. That's why I'm like, I'm going to go for the more, underbust or kidney style belts and armor, maybe some shoulder pieces, but a full bodice is going to be too much for the first event.
Yeah, well,
we'll change it later.
Yeah, well, like you were saying, you said, you want to try some things, and then it might not be for you. I think that's the difference with, Dungeons and Dragons and things like that. You have an idea of what you might like to do. You're like, oh, I want to be this big, strong barbarian that swings a two-handed sword, and you can go do that. And you go, oh, this is fun, isn't it? But then you might have, an idea in your head. You're like, oh yeah, you know what? I want to be, I don't know, like someone who is like a bard in LARP, and then you go out there and you're just like, oh, I have to actually perform, and oh no, I'm a little bit anxious about like being that way. I don't really feel comfortable being that way. I'd actually prefer to. Oh, and then I tried a bit of crafting. I'm like, oh, actually, I'm going to be a crafter in this because this is actually this is physically what I want to do during the game. Is talk about crafting, or it might be the money game or something where you're like, oh, actually, I like trading. Actually, you might go, oh, I tried the battle. That was awful. I like the idea of the battle, but it's like the worst bit is the actual fighting. So I but then I went and traded this thing, my sword that I had, for something, and went, oh yeah, and then someone told me about trading, and you're like, oh, I might go into trading. So I think it's just going to be a very much a trial and error type thing, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, the character that I'm kind of focusing on is, a sort of more bard type of character because, okay, guys, I can't sing or really dance or play an instrument, but I'm pretty sure I can entertain in other ways. As in, I'm pretty sure I can, tell different poems and jokes and things like that, and just in general be very charismatic in that way. And that's what I'm hoping to do.
Yeah, I'm kind of
to just use my words.
Yeah, again, that's another thing. I know, I think all the nations do this, but there's what attracted me to Dawn straight away was the fact that they're very, very open about their stories of glory, and they like. I don't know. We'll see. I think that there's obviously a little bit of tension and friendly rivalries between the nations that I'm really excited to explore those different rivalries and different things. Because I've heard like the orcs have there's all part of their culture. So there's like orcs that are actually part of the empire. So you can be an imperial orc. So and every nation then has their own camp within the grounds, so apparently if you just wander in, you can't just wander into the orc camp on your own if you're not armed, because they take it, apparently it's a thing that they take offense that you're not armed. It's something to do with you feel like you're so badass that you've just walked in there and without having to protect yourself, so they will stop you entering and things like that. I'm really interested in seeing all the little interactions. That's what really drew me to the knight errantry thing, because I've heard that's part of the test is you have to go and socialize and do things with other nations, and so it just gives you an excuse to just be that pain in the ass person that comes into their nation and be like, I have been charged with getting one of your finest bits of, I don't know, confectionery, bakery or something, and you can then just go headlong into their culture, which I'm really looking forward to that part of it.
I'm just like picturing like the orc camp and my character heading in without any weapons, being like, yes, I don't have any weapons, but I am here with the power of love. This is a rose. And that is how my character dies.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. The thing that really interests me is they've got this, they literally have like so in Dawn they have like a tournament, I think it's called the Glory Square. I might be wrong on that. I'm sure it's the Glory something. I'm sure it's the Glory Square.
It's the Glory something, guys.
It's the Glory something. It's all about glory. So, yeah. Shh. It's definitely a square. I mean, I'm sure it's a square now.
Definitely a square
but they have tournaments. They have all these different types of champions. I think they have like I can't remember any of the names. I think there's like a champion of flowers and things like that, and it's all depending on the time of year and I'm because I'm a competitive person. Again, another reason why Dawn attracted me so much, because they are competitive nation, and I was like, that's like being crowned like a champion, like of a tournament, like really freaking appeals to me. Or having like a ceremonial position of like, I'm sure it's like the Knight of Flowers or something like that. Or I was like, yeah,
I want to be the Knight of Flowers.
Yeah, like I am so up for that. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be great. And then obviously this weekend when we get to go and do a little bit of shopping and hopefully meet some other people who are going to be there. You never know. I mean, we're friendly. We'll make some friends this weekend.
Yeah, we have a good way about us making friends. I think I've always been Yeah, no, some people some people like to keep in their own little groups. We've always been very much like, oh, we're part of this geek community. Come and join this geek community. We'd like to network. You know, I'm always
we're
for
networking geeks.
Yeah, I'm always for, because it's such a small world, you know, and you can make all these connections so fast as long as you're just you know, you want to have a good time, and you know, and I do like having a I like having a good time. I like having a you know, a drink and talking about the things I like to do, you know.
So, I want all my friends to meet each other and, you know, all have fun and to bring everybody into all the nerdy communities that we're into. And
Speaking of friends, we played a game of Dungeons and Dragons at the weekend, didn't we? Because it's been a while.
We did. Yeah. It has been a while. We actually played Dungeons and Dragons this weekend, guys.
Well, we played a couple of weeks ago because you ran the game, but it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while since we played on stream, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. It's been a while since you and I played together. It was really nice.
Yeah. When was the last time you and I played together?
Months, Ollie. I think it was months.
Yeah, months ago. Yeah. Probably the last time we streamed before this, right? So yeah, no, we streamed a game of D&D on our friend over at the Hype Goblin. So
yes.
Yeah.
Lovely Goblin herself was DMing for us, and we had a lot of fun. We got to play a couple of, I would say, new characters. This is guys, I played an elf, and this elf was I know, it's my Middle Earth elf, and I made like a 5e, you know, and like a normal D&D 5e version of her. Made her a ranger bard, which is quite fun.
Yeah.
And your character was really cool.
Yeah, no, I made a halfling paladin. He was Oath of Devotion because I haven't played Oath of Devotion yet. But I mean, he's only my third paladin, even though, you know, I'm like, I play loads of well, he's kind of my fourth paladin. I guess he's my fourth paladin, but he's my third paladin that actually had an oath. Because my when I played Davin, he was more bard. He was multi-class bard paladin, but he only had one level in paladin, so he didn't have his oath yet. But yeah, no, my halfling was Oath of Devotion, which I think is, even though like flavor wise is obviously the most vanilla, I think it is the best subclass, like mechanically, because there was some cool stuff. The only thing I was disappointed in is that I didn't get to use my channel divinity, basically like it's basically turn undead. So yeah, because I thought I was going to get to use it, but we were fighting constructs, you know, because we could have been fighting undead if we fought the vampires, but we ended up deciding to fight the hag and the constructs. So the zombie construct, the flesh golems were constructs. Sorry, I'm saying the constructs. That's their type. We were fighting flesh golems, which are constructs, not undead. You know, I was like, damn it. Even my smites weren't being super powerful either, but I was still doing, because I decided to go like great weapon, and be more of a damage dealer than a tank, because I knew that our cleric fighter was that what RJ was?
I think he was a cleric fighter.
I'm sure he was a cleric fighter. Yeah, so he was sword and shield. So I kind of gathered that he was going to be, and he's usually like martial characters anyway, isn't he?
Usually.
So I gathered he might be tanking. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to go sword and board like I usually do. I'm just going to go two-handed, and then I took Great Weapon Master as my feat. And with those smites, the amount of damage which is probably good that I was doing that much damage, because it got us through that last bit of combat pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I mean, what I love about playing with that group of people is that I think every time I've kind of gone, okay, so this is my character, and this character is going to have, you know, this trait, or they're going to be slightly serious with this, or they're going to be really opinionated with this. 5 minutes with those guys, and I'm like, how about I hold you upside down so you can read it upside down?
Well, yeah, I think
we just went straight to full-on silly mode.
Well, I think Jen in particular, she has a way of like diffusing,
bringing the silly out.
Well, yeah, because it's funny because Jen usually plays like serious characters, but Jen has a way of like just cutting through the bullshit that your character comes out with. And just goes, I'm going to do, you just go, oh, yes, I think we should do this. And, Jen goes, no, I think I'm just going to go do that, and they just do it. And they do it in such a way that it's like, Oh, I wasn't quite expecting it, but they just do it. You're like, okay, yeah, let's follow suit. It was dead easy.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. It's a great game. Anyway, yeah, absolutely great game. My first experience of playing a ranger. So something that I definitely would like to spend a bit more time on before at some other point and get to know the class a bit because I really enjoyed it actually.
So what were you? Were you like 3 levels in ranger and 2 in bard?
No, I was 4 levels in
Oh,
ranger and 2 in bard. So I was
nice.
a Drake Warden ranger. So I basically took the 4 levels so that I was going to take a feat, but instead I did the ability score increase just to up my charisma a little bit
Yeah.
more so that I'd have enough bardic inspiration basically to give everyone.
No, it was good.
And yeah, that was quite fun. I basically wanted, my vicious mockery and some bardic inspiration. And I wanted a little Drake,
Well, yeah,
and I got that.
because you played the new, as of this recording, the new
Yeah,
Ranger
the Drake Warden, yeah.
subclass from Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. Yeah, and some of the stuff that you were doing, I was like, I want to play, because it's the first time I've ever kind of want to play a Ranger, because I've always thought they've been a little bit underwhelming, but
Oh, it was so
Drake
cool.
Warden looks so cool.
Yeah, like my Drake, he basically had this reaction that if he was within 30 feet of any of you guys and you successfully hit someone with a weapon, he added on to your damage as his reaction.
Yeah, it was
which
just a
really
reaction as
cool.
well. Yeah,
It was just a reaction. So once every round, he was just adding an extra D6 of fire onto someone, which was definitely made a bit of a difference. It was good fun.
Yeah, I've literally got the book
yeah.
here. I'm gonna have a
Yeah, I saw you opening the book, and I was like,
I'm gonna have a little
give you a
nosy
chance
through.
to get that open.
Yeah, because it looks so fun, just I think, and the fact that, because it's almost a shame, some of the stuff, it's almost a shame that they just didn't like replace the Beastmaster Ranger with the entire subclass. Like, it doesn't have to be, it shouldn't have had to just been a Drake, but because like I said, that subclass is quite underwhelming.
Yeah.
It's been a problem, but I have a feeling they're going to do a lot to it in the next iteration of D&D. Everyone's expecting 5.5. I think it is going to be 5.5. They're not going to throw out 5th edition at this point. Like, they brought out so many books. Yeah, they brought, like I said, even this year alone, they've literally just brought out so many books that they're kind of upgrading Mordenkainen's as well. They're upgrading the lore. And they're bringing out adventures set in 5th edition as well. They've got no plans to slow down with that. So I think they're going to be just upgrading those types of things. I can't even find what page it's on.
For Ranger.
No, yeah. Creating no, we don't want to create a dragon. Dragons in play. Layers in hordes. I cannot find where the subclasses are. That's character creation. Here we go. Ranger Drake Warden, page 15. I actually have D&D Beyond. I could have just looked this up on D&D Beyond.
I was wondering.
Yeah, but I mean, I have the book, so this was a Christmas present from my mother-in-law. So I kind of want to. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Drake Companion. Yeah, reactions. Infuse strikes when another creature within 30 feet of the Drake that it can see hits a target with a weapon attack. The Drake infuses the strike with its essence, and that's like, that gives you a lot of scope to flavor stuff, doesn't it? Because
basically, the essence, it depends on which Drake you choose. So my Drake did fire damage because it was the fire essence that he had.
Yeah, because when you were saying it, you were like, "Oh, I'm just gonna." I want, every time we hit, it was like, "Oh, I'd want to jump on that with the Drake," and we were like, "Wait." I think a few of us were like, "Wait, what is that?" Because none of us had played with it before. And you were like, "Oh no, it's like you." And we were like, "Does it have to be close?" And you're like, "No, within 30 feet." I'm like, "That's so good." Like within 30 feet. So I was trying to imagine what was actually kind of not mechanically, but yeah, actually physically happening in game terms, that it was doing this damage. I was like, does it like shoot its breath out and like infuse your weapon strike with its breath or something? And
that's what I was picturing. I was picturing that he was like using his breath, like he was, getting behind you and he was watching you, and as your sword made contact, he was then, breathing fire behind it and opening that up further or something.
even the first thing, like you literally get thaumaturgy, which is just one of the best cantrips in the game, you know?
I've never used it before, and I was like, I don't know what this does.
Well, it's basically prestidigitation. You know, it's very.
That's what I thought it was. Similar. I was like, it's so similar. But then I saw what RJ, because he had it, and he was actually, you know, doing stuff with it. He was like, oh, I pinched my neck, and I use Taumaturgy to increase the volume of my voice. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's more dramatic than prestidigitation. Prestidigitation is more about, like, you know, cleaning things and nice smells and things. That Thaumaturgy is like making all the windows in the room burst open. You know, it's more of a, you know, thunder sheet and things like that. But it was fun. So yeah, the premise was that we had to find a magic box. The actual adventure was like a tail end of, I think it was a longer adventure. I think that's what Sarah had said to us.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because we knew this box was within this dungeon, but it was in a certain part of the dungeon that we needed 2 magical gems to get into. So our first task was to track down these magical gems, and I don't want to go into too much detail, actually, in case, you know, someone else is like, I want to go play this. I mean...
Yeah, but I mean, we got to fight... Well, I mean, we want to tell the story of it, right?
Yeah, okay. So what was the first one that we came up against then?
Well, it was like 3... There was 3 kind of places that we wanted to get, that we were supposed to look into. Because we needed 2 gems to get into the final room to where we thought this music box was. The first place we went to find one of these gems was like a brewery that had a witch in there. I think, well, I don't know if we decided, I think other people decided that it was a witch. I think we never went, oh my god, she's obviously a witch. It was just a woman that was doing stuff with potions, and she had these flesh golems with her, and she wanted... Pretty
witchy.
Yeah. She wanted 5 Duragar hearts, so we went to the next place, which I think that was a forge, right? And so we found, conveniently 5 Duragar, but then we decided we wanted to unionize the Duragar against this woman. Oh yeah, that's right. The woman, she had 2 Duragar in cages already, right?
Yes. So she had 2 of them in cages already, and they had been like at each other's throats, and it was, you know, these sort of 2 parties that just, they live in the same dungeon, but they don't like each other, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had this thing that we were going to unionize the Duragar against, but they weren't into that, were they? Because
because the witch had gem.
Well,
so that was how we were going to get her gem, was by getting her the hearts.
That's right. Yeah. So 3 of these places had a gem each. Basically, was the premise. So. The Duragar weren't up for being unionized, and they wanted us to go kill the witch. They called her the witch. That's when they start calling her the witch. Is like, oh, that witch. And we were like, all right, okay, well, we can kill the witch. And we're like, what are we going to get a stone in return? Like, yes. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll kill the witch, take her stone, and then we'll get a stone from the Duragar. And then we're like, well, there's one other place to go. So we ended up going to the third place just in case there was other options that would make it easier. So we went
to the Whispering Crypt.
The Whispering Crypt? What was in the Whispering Crypt, Robyn?
In the Whispering Crypt, we went in, and there were these sort of weird stone statues, and out from the sides came a couple of vampires.
Yeah.
They were pretty creepy, but, you know, very pleasant at the same time.
Yeah, they were like vampire spawn, weren't they?
Yeah, that was it, vampire spawn. And we decided to free their master.
Yeah, we were just like, yeah. We were very much, especially with like having a cleric and the paladin in the pie, we were very much just like along for the ride. We were just like, yeah, sure, whatever, you know. It's a one shot.
Free you.
We took the stake out of the vampire lord's heart. And he was fine, right?
He'd been trapped there for 30 years, and all these Durga and everything else had like managed to trap these vampires, and we were just like, oh, let's get rid of this garlic, you know, open the doors up. Oh, we'll take that stake out of your heart. Good afternoon.
It was totally like a Peter Griffin moment, wasn't it? It was just like we left there because what did he want us to do? He wanted us to kill. What? I can't remember what he wanted us to do. to give a
kill the deer guy.
Oh no, he wanted the captain. He wanted the captain alive. He wanted the Duro captain
that's it.
alive.
Yeah, he wanted the deer guy gone, but just the captain.
I love how you
brought back
call
to him.
them a Duro guy.
I don't know what they are, and this is the first time I've actually said out loud because you said it there and you said the word, and I was like, I don't know what they are.
But I thought you were being funny, like the entire, like especially in the session. A Duragar.
Duragar.
Ends with an R, not a guy, not a Dura guy. I just thought you were calling it a Dura guy for a laugh. Did you go get the Dura guy? The Dura guy. Oh my god!
What the Dura guy? Is that something else I was referring to?
Because I thought is she actually still take it? I'm gonna have to pull her up on this. You know, it's Duragar, right?
No.
Yeah. Duragar. Cool. I can't remember.
So the guys with the heart.
So he wanted the Duragar. But
captain.
we just left there, and we did like a Peter Griffin moment, and we just like wandered off, and people were like, "So, did you go see the vampire?" I'm like, yeah. What happened? Yeah. Oh no, I mean it's all fine. There might be some problems later, but it's fine because we just woke this vampire up and just forgot about him completely after that.
We also got rid of all the garlic on the way out, so he'd have a nice clear path.
Yeah, no. So we didn't do a good job there, but we just went, you know what, it's one shot, sort of. So we walked out there.
The witch was concerned.
Yeah, and then we were like, right, let's just go kill the witch. So we went to go kill the witch, didn't we?
Should have done that the first time.
Well, yeah, it was the first person we saw. I mean, to be fair, the session would have been pretty quick if we just,
gone in and killed her.
Just gone in and killed her, yeah. She was quite rude anyway, wasn't she? So. But what did she turn out to be, Robyn?
She turned out, so she was described as this beautiful woman who was, there mixing all these mysterious potions. And then she turned out to be a hag.
It was a green hag specifically, right?
I don't know, but she was a hag.
Yeah, the green hag's like the lowest CR. I'm pretty sure she was a green hag. I think she was a little bit underpowered because hags are damn powerful in the monster manual. But so we fought, but then we were doing some serious damage. We were level 5, weren't we?
Level 6.
Level 6? No, we were level 6, yeah, because I had my paladin aura that I totally forgot about because we were doing lots of saves, and I was like, it wasn't until like near the end of the game I was like, oh, everyone should have been getting +2 to their saves because I've got an aura.
That was amazing. It was like right at the end, we're finished, almost finished.
That made a difference,
and then you're just like, by the way.
Yeah, that made a difference because RJ made a save and he beat it by like 1 point because of my aura. Yeah. So it did make a difference that I remembered it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we killed the green hag. We took her stone, and then we expedited things because we had messed about for 3 hours already at this point. And we just went, yeah, you get the gems. You get the gem from her. You get the gem from the Duragar. Everyone has a party.
Duragar.
The Duragar. No, the Duragai. The Duragai.
Tell me the Duragai is actually a thing. No. Is there a guy called Dura somewhere?
No, Duragai. It's like the another version of the Urukai. It's like arise, my fighting Duragai. No, it's not Duragai. So we. Watch this now. I'll probably get a load of messages after this podcast release being like, it is Duragai, actually. I think
actually it is.
Actually, that's how it's not spelled Duragai, but it's pronounced Duragai.
I'll pay you guys later.
So we dealt with them, we got through the door, didn't we? And then we fell down a pit.
There was a pit.
And we fought gelatinous cubes. That was fun.
Yeah, the cubes! I forgot about the cubes!
I love everyone's, because I kind of wanted to, because there's 2 of them that fell down this pit with us, and there was a ladder, and I was like, the gelatinous cubes are slow, so that was metagaming from me because I knew they were slow, and I was like, and I was at the wrong end of the pit, and everyone else was at the top near the ladder. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm just gonna as combat started, I'm fine. I'm just gonna run away, and then we can get up because they won't be able to climb up the ladder. But no, everyone just like ran in and just started slashing. I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing this, and because we're already like 3.5 hours into the game, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. And what did we do to them, Robyn?
We destroyed them. We
Yeah.
I mean, I've not had much interactions with gelatinous cubes in the past. I wasn't too sure what it was going to do. So I ran off with my Drake and we're like, we're going to fight from over here, guys, but you got this. Sending, inspiration and arrows to everyone.
So our fighter cleric, and yeah, he's definitely was a fighter cleric because this is how he did this tech. So he did some great combat tech. He
yes.
He ran. Yeah. So he ran at this gelatinous cube. He used his action to grapple it. He successfully grappled it so that was now inside the cube, and then he action surged, and then he cast heat metal on himself
on his armor.
He was on his armor. Yeah, so he cast heat metal on his armor while he was inside the cube, and it did damage obviously to him and the cube. But it was enough to kill the cube, and it was this. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite ever ways of winning a combat. It was so cool. It was just such a calculated, right, yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Even if it was, because we'd done a lot of damage to it already, so I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But even if I was DMing and one of my players did that, I would have fudged the roll and been like, yeah, you do enough to kill it, because that was so badass. Yeah, and then what did we do then? We just climbed up and found the stuff, right? That was kind of it.
Yeah, we found the room that we had to access. We got in there. We did a bit of looking around, and we found the box that we had to return. And we did it successfully before the other group, the Hand of Light, because they suck.
Yeah, we never came into contact with the Hand of Light, did we? I kind of thought that maybe we could pick it up one day. Who knows?
Maybe, yes. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, so that was with our friend Sarah the Hype Goblin. So the Hype Goblin, you can find her on pretty much every platform under that name, I think.
So type the Hype Goblin into anything and she will appear.
Yeah, and she does some really good work, doesn't she? So all her the proceeds from her Twitch streams all go to charity.
They all go to the Trevor Project.
The Trevor Project. I don't know much about the Trevor. Do you know much about what the Trevor Project is?
Yes.
Yes. You're just going to Google it. Well, you can Google it. I don't mind if you Google it. You don't have to have all the answers.
No, I'm going to her page because she's got a nice little bit written up, and I don't really want to, misquote what they actually are. So they're an American non-profit organization, and they focus on suicide prevention and also efforts amongst the LGBTQAI community.
Yeah.
So they basically, they're there as a lifeline for people who are struggling with these sort of thoughts when it comes to suicide and people who need support within these sort of communities. So they are a pretty wonderful organization, and all of the Hype Goblin Twitch channel profits or proceeds all go to, so that's not just a profit, it's all the proceeds go to the Trevor Project.
Yeah.
Definitely a good one to go follow. She's got a fantastic YouTube channel, TikTok channel, everything.
Yeah, if you're into TTRPGs, she also does plays Fortnite and all other sorts of video games that I am not aware of. In fact, I think the majority of her stuff of her Twitch stuff is video games with a couple of TTRPGs, and I think a lot of her social media is TTRPGs and cosplay. So yeah, go support our friend. I think we'll wrap up, Robyn, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah. And this weekend we'll get to go to this lovely event, and hopefully next time we'll get to tell all you guys what it was like. So
if you're listening to this after the fact, make sure to go check out our socials. So we are on Instagram, Robyn? We're to roll the number 2.
Yes.
Roll as into roleplay, ROLE. Have a look on our Instagram. We'll be posting photos of this weekend. We'll probably be posting in our Discord. So if you go to our Twitch channel, _to_roll, and go check out our About section, have a look for our Discord link, jump in the Discord. You can chat to us about LARP and whatnot, or we can totally steer you in the direction if you're interested after listening to this as well.
Come,
come follow us. If you haven't already, come and follow us on Twitch anyway. While you're there, we do a pretty much a live version style of this podcast, don't we? On Thursdays. That's kind of what we're doing currently. At the time of this recording, every Thursday we just do a live chat, just Robyn and I just hanging out. So you want to say goodbyes, Robyn?
Yeah, again, thank you guys for listening and for being here. And hopefully we'll catch you guys in our Discord. See you later.
Right, see you later, guys. Bye. Cheers. See you next time. Bye. Love you all. Bye. Bye. Lots of byes.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe so you know when a new episode is posted. Rate and review this podcast, and then catch us live at twitch.tv/2have_2roll. That is the number 2 and roll as into roleplay. Thank you very much for listening.